Hello, good morning, and welcome to Out of Spec Motoring. We are in the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina, and if you don't know about them, they are some of the best driving roads on the planet. There does tend to get a little bit of traffic on the weekends, and today is a Sunday. However, it's 7:30 in the morning, it's 34 degrees outside, and we're going to see how track mode responds on the street. We're in a Model 3 Performance, of course. This one does not have the 5% power upgrade, but it's been rolling out, just hasn't made it to this car. So we are on a road called the Hellbender, which is the road that leads us to the tail of the Dragon, and I have the car in completely normal mode. So what I'm going to do first is show you how the car handles without track mode, and you can see it's already an awesome road. So coming around this corner, I'm floored. You can see the car kind of moving around a little bit, but we do have some DSC interaction. So you can see it wants to slide, but it's not. So that's full power. Again, all-wheel drive, it's still spinning tires. It is cold this morning. The car is on all-season tires, not the Pilot Sport 4S's that it comes up on, or I should say it comes from the factory on. Those we already ruined, so because it was fall, I figured we should test some all seasons on it. So really nice balance. Squirrel, get out of the way, thank you very much. The chassis on the Model 3 is fantastic, and yeah, for being so heavy, it is unbelievably nimble and light, but that's thanks to the battery pack being low in the chassis. So the car, we can see just going up the hill without track mode on, it's kind of holding us back constantly. It's grabbing brakes, it's cutting power. So we're just cruising past Fontana Village Resort right now, which is a great place to stay. It's very kind of rustic and very 1950s and 60s, but we stay here every time. We love it. And lots of NEMA 1450s for car charging. The car is at 90% right now. So let's pull here into the entrance. Again, it's in the morning, no one's up yet. We're gonna put the car into track mode. Steering I keep in standard. I don't go to sport. I think sport's a little bit too heavy. So let's talk about what track mode gives you. Of course, we played around with it on track, and I wasn't super thrilled with track mode on the track, actually. I thought it was still holding me back from everything I wanted to have the car do. But on the street, you get increased regen, which is huge out here on the mountains. It really helps keep the heat away from the brakes. Now, because the battery is still kind of cold, and it's at 90% state of charge, we don't actually get we don't get tons of regen, but we will shortly after this drive. So coming down this hill, I still am using a bit of foot braking to slow us down. And the speeds, I'm not going to share what they are, but this thing really picks up the pace down the straightaways. So track mode does a few other things as well. It pre-cools the battery and motors so that you can have longer performance before you hit thermal throttling. So essentially when components get too hot, it will limit the power output to save those components from overheating. This hopefully prolongs that period, and I honestly have yet to run into an overheating situation in a Model 3 Performance with track mode. Flying across the bridge, it is so beautiful here. We're lucky to live in this state. Power out of this corner, you can see no traction control intervention at all there. It was just get up and go. Hard on the brakes, touching near triple digits. Not going to say that's kilometers or miles per hour. Again, we can talk about, oh, safety, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm not pushing the car that hard on the street right now. We're keeping it all well within safe limits. We're not, you know, risking sliding off the road, risking anyone else's safety. Definitely, if you drive out here, do not cross the double yellow line. That is the biggest thing. So, wide open down the street. No engine noise to listen to, but that's okay. Wow, this thing really closes the gaps between corners. Incredible. I mean, everyone talks about the Model 3 being a fast car, like it's the best performing car in its category, and that's sort of what everyone says, and they base that number purely off of acceleration. And the way I look at it is acceleration is the least important performance factor. Certainly it's fun to get thrown back in your seat and go, but you know, how does it brake? How does it corner? Is there, you know, tons of understeer, oversteer? What's the chassis like? These are all the things that we're trying to attempt to see on this trip here. So far brakes are getting warmed up, they're getting bitier. Let's see how this is corner exit. Okay, we did get some traction control on corner exit, and we are coming up on a car here, so let's see if they'll pull off. There's a pull off here. Please get out of the way. No. Well, since we're behind this car, I'll take an opportunity to talk a little more about track mode. So, on the street, here's what I can notice about the system. When you put it in, are they really going to pull over and let us pass here? Not recommended, but doable. Little flashers to say thanks. Anyway, track mode, yes. It prioritizes rear axle for power, for sure, because it is very oversteery. Under regen, it uses the front motor a lot for regen, so when you tick the car into a corner and throw it in, the back end wants to come around. And you only really feel that increased regen when you start getting around 50% state of charge. So you can feel the car through that section was a little bit soft, but that's okay. I mean, the car is not, like I had a 2016 BMW M3 competition package out here, and that thing was a weapon. I mean, you put everything in some of the sporty modes. It had the carbon ceramics. You could pound that car around all day. It just was a little wide. And so this feels a little less wide than that car. I don't know the exact numbers, but it certainly is arguably not as capable as that car is through the corners. But I think the instant acceleration out of corners would actually make it a quicker car through here. It's more of a practical quick car. So this is a great section of the road. This is called the Hellbender, which of course leads to the Dragon, as I said. And the Hellbender is a arguably more dangerous road than the Dragon. A lot of people drive this road that don't know it very well. And yeah, you can see the little hop around. It's a little soft. It wants to bounce through these undulations. And the Hellbender has more accidents on it than the Dragon, which is really interesting. And the reason why is because you have these really fast straightaways where you can get, you know, people mob out here. You're getting well into the triple digits if you have a quick car. So you're absolutely flying down this road, and then you come up to corners like this that are incredibly sharp. I mean, we have to bring the speeds down to 32 miles an hour. Power out of the corner. Track mode, getting the power down pretty good, but some traction control intervention. There we go. Little slide on corner exit. That's the thing I like about track mode, is it lets you have fun with little angles. It does feel a little artificial though. I put the power down early to force the car like that into an oversteer situation, which I normally would not do if I had stability control completely off. And so we're foot flat down through here, braking, little trail brake into this corner, and another hard application for that second, then it's foot down. So for those that don't know this road really well, and thankfully I come out here all the time and this is like my home away from home, this can be quite a dangerous situation. You can see skid marks leading off in the corners. At least once a weekend someone crashes out on here, and it's a good road when you know it, but you really got to know it. It can bite you for sure. And the other thing is, a lot of people come out here and push their cars way past their skill level to handle. They're crossing double yellow lines. They're just, you know, like we had the Mustang Club up here this weekend. Not to say anything about Mustangs, but I definitely did not try to walk in front of one of those guys while they were driving around. And yeah, so the car just feels a little soft, but actually you don't notice that through the tighter section. It's more over the big sweepers when speeds are up. And so now we've caught up to this Acura. We're almost towards the end of the road. Model 3 or like a BMW M2, which would I prefer to have out here? This has sort of been my question. Oh, this guy's going for it in the Acura. Here we go. Let's go see if we can keep up with him. I'd probably have an M2. The problem with the Model 3 out here is, and of course I know those cars are in two different categories, but those are two cars I would consider owning for this type of driving. We need DC fast charging in this area. The way we're driving, we've already burned 15%, and it's been like 10 minutes, not even. So it's, you really gotta take a long lunch break driving out here hard. A little bit of oversteer on corner exit, but that car looks pretty sticky in front of us. Looks nice, looking set up well. And yeah, I think this is a fantastic car. You know, you can take it to the track for the weekends, which this car spends a lot of time on track. You can daily drive it easily. That's the best part about this car. It is the easiest car to live with every day, no question. And this guy's going for it. And yeah, it is a fantastic car, no question. That this is the best handling electric car I've ever driven. And man, I really think the Taycan's going to be a beast out here. It's just going to be big. Like, I had a Panamera Turbo out here, and it was a little bit too big. A little bit too big. So I think the Taycan's going to suffer from that too. So now we've reached the end of the Hellbender, and we may actually break this into, excuse me. Yeah, it's still the morning. Everything's getting jiggled up. So now we've reached the end of the Hellbender. We may break this clip into two sections. And I'm thinking we'll go down the Dragon. We'll just see how the road looks this morning. We're at 74% battery. It is empty here, which is very nice. So it looks like we're following this guy down. So if you ever come here in your Tesla, Killboy here, the official Tail of the Dragon store, has a J1772 Tesla wall connector and a NEMA 1450. So 3 charging options for you. The Tepoco Lodge down the road has 4 charging stations, 3 of which are Teslas, and they're at least 48 amps. That's all this car would take. I don't know what it is with a high amperage charger in like a Model S or X. And what else? You got Fontana Village. There's just no fast charging. That's the real problem with driving an electric car out here is you get one really fast, solid run-in, and then the car has to charge for 4 hours or 5 hours on a 240 volt charger. And I've certainly asked Electrify America, all these companies, to put in some DC fast charging, and I just really wish they would. So, ripping down the Dragon. This is one of the best driving roads on the planet when it's empty, and early in the mornings it typically is, so I'm not sure what this guy is doing aside from holding us up. 73% state of charge. I can start to feel that extra regen from track mode. And let's see if he'll pull over for us at all, because that is the etiquette around here. And if not, I'll just pause the video and start in the next section. Okay, thank you very much, sir, for letting us by. A little flasher as a thank you. And now we have the Dragon to ourselves, so it's power out of the corner, hard down. This is a great section through here. And you can see track mode really not stopping us much from having some fun. Yeah, it gets great rotation on corner exit. I can already feel the brake pedal getting a little squishy because we didn't take a break after the Hellbender. And you should really never completely stop the car after a hard blast when the brakes are hot, because you don't want the caliper heat to back its way into the fluid and actually boil the brake fluid after you stop driving. So yeah, you can feel hard ABS hits from track mode on corner exit. Again, it is cold and slippery out here, and I can drive a little bit smoother to avoid some of that. But what's the Model 3 like when the road gets really twisty? So it certainly isn't, I wouldn't say it's fun. I mean, it's fun because it's a good road and the car's okay, but it's not encouraging me to drive quickly. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like there's anything that I'm doing that the car doesn't want to do. It feels like it's built for this. The brakes, I would say, definitely need pads and fluid at a minimum. Let's just feel this repetitive corners going on here. but track mode limits, or I should say delays, the sensitivity of the throttle, so you get a longer travel before it really throws you back in your seat, which I prefer. A little oversteer there, but that's of course forced by me. So when you get that longer pedal throw, you get more control over the car without throwing a big hit at the power. So if you've ever driven like a Toyota Camry or Corolla, you know, they have pretty much no power. I mean, aside from the V6 Camry, that's actually a kind of a quick car. But when you drive a Corolla, for example, the first like inch of the pedal does 90% of your acceleration. So now we've come up on a Fox body here. Let's see if they'll let us pass. The AC fans are ripping hard on this car right now. From Ohio, thank you, good sir. Appreciate that. And so we're down to under 70% battery right now. Great little tight section and hard power. Foot to the floor down the straightaway. And yeah, it closes that gap so much that you need to really remember when to brake, because there's no engine noise to sort of relay the speed, so you're relying completely on visual cues to judge how fast you're going. And either that means you're going to be coming into corners too slowly, which is what ideally you would want, instead of coming into corners too quickly, which can happen. So you can see the back end coming around, playing around, feels good. I feel like this car with a nice suspension setup, something that would take a little bit of the sway out of it, would be really, really nice. These tires, being honestly inexpensive all-season tires that I'm also testing, are really, really good, surprisingly. Power down this straightaway, foot hard. Let's see, no power limit there. We're at 66%. ABS under braking into that corner, I can feel it, which is normal. Wow. When you really, really start getting up the Model 3 and driving it hard, it wakes up. This thing is good. I can feel we don't have full power anymore. It's certainly cutting due to some heat, I would imagine, or state of charge being low. A little bit of oversteer. Very good. Now that felt weird, what track mode just did. It grabbed front brakes when I really did not want it to, but I was also getting a little bit too rough on the car just for fun. Track mode really seems to respond well to smooth driving inputs, and of course smooth is fast, but smooth is not fun, and I try to go for maximum fun sometimes. So that increased regen is working very well. I'm still using the foot brake into every corner because I'm stretching it down the straights, just to really push the car. But if you were out here just cruising around, moseying around, you would never really need to use the foot brake more than just for a couple corners. So I can hear it grabbing brakes. I can feel track mode holding me back there. It felt very odd. So let's see it. Stiff it in. Yeah, so okay. Track mode does not really let you do everything you want to do with the car. It just kind of grabs the brakes around. So let's give this thing, those two are ripping it, very good. It's good to see quick people out here. And I was hoping we'd find someone fast to drive with, so that we could see how well the Model 3 keeps up with some other cars out here. Of course, the key for driving on the Dragon or any of these roads is 100% safety. And so, in an effort to not make this video go on too long, and so that I don't throw out, because surprisingly, I love to drive out here, but I do get car sick. Let's wrap up with summary on driving the Model 3 quickly in this, I don't know, I guess it's a one-take style video. I'm not sure. This isn't like a nicely produced video for you guys. Sorry, this is just, we were up here ripping around, so I figured I'd throw a camera in the car. So we'll pull right here. AC fans are blazing. I've had the air conditioning set low. So, Model 3 performance. Put the car in park, which that puts brake pads on rotor, so hopefully they're not too hot, although they probably will get glowing red when you're really hard on them. So the Model 3 performance is one, wildly capable for what it can do. I mean, it closes the gaps between corners. The braking, I would say, is its weakest point, even though it does have upgraded brakes. I will say, when I had the rear-wheel drive Model 3 out here, completely stock one, the high temperature brake warning light would come on after 3 or 4 corners. I have not had that come up on this car, on this car here. However, I have had that on track. So I think brakes are a big weakness on this car. And then overall, just the suspension is tuned much more for daily driving rather than stuff like this. So when you get a true like BMW M car, or we're talking like a Porsche Cayman, Boxster would be in this price category, with the right options, you can really have it set up to, out of the box, be a complete weapon through the corners. I would say the Model 3 is not there, but it is the best handling electric car, no question, as well as, I haven't driven the Taycan yet, so we'll see, but I like this size a lot more. I've played around with the Taycan, and it is very fast. Yeah, I mean, yesterday I played around where I'd sat on the side of the road and waited for some really fast cars to go by, and it's a very unscientific test, but instantly caught right up to each one of them, and no one's come up behind this thing driving it hard. So again, unscientific, but I can say so far this trip, there's yet to be a gas car that has kept up with this electric thing. So now that I've burned about 40% of the battery, and it's only 8:16 in the morning, this is the downside of driving electric cars hard, is you just chew through that battery. I mean, we've only driven 19 miles and we've used 21 kilowatt hours. That's over 1 kilowatt hour per mile by quite a bit. So let's end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to see more of these like unedited point of view style driving videos, let me know, because we come up here all the time with some fun cars. I'm happy to throw these types of videos out on the channel. Of course, you guys asked for this. I put a poll up, everyone said yes, please make this video. Sure thing. And thanks for tuning in and subscribing to Out of Spec Motoring. There's a lot of cool stuff coming. Talk to you guys soon.